Even though Glorong's flanking.
He is flanking, but it seemed like he was just going to go up with the Immortal and try to take out the keep instead.
Hosi has to be careful.
There's no good place now. Everyone has been safe in retreating again. So Roll20 don't get a keep. Superstars are able to defend both of theirs. They've gotten through the initial very scary point, and that is heroic abilities in losing a keep, losing even core at that point. They've gotten through that.
They've gotten past the terror stages of Battlefield of Eternity, but it's still a long trek upward here for this game. They're going to be able to set it 1-1, and with the 13 talent here, it's going to get even further out of the window. This should not be too bad, though, when considering the timing of the map objective. I do believe Superstars will find themselves in a situation to be able to at least play passive and stall out for the 13 window.
Well, Roll20 getting both of their camps and getting their Shaman camp pretty early in the top.
Shows that they're trying to force with the 13. It's one of the only ways on Battlefield of Eternity you can force a fight without, you know, the Immortals being up. There are no bosses, so you have to just double stack the camp with your Shaman into that lane and try and force.
There will be a Shaman camp to clear up for them later on. They'll probably end up hanging out here around until when the Immortals spawn, unless something goes poorly for them and they have to back off earlier on. So at some point, someone will have to deal with that bottom lane. And that's some good news for Superstars. Immortals spawning in 30 seconds. Roll20 get what they wanted, which was to take out the front wall ahead of that keep. So once they get an Immortal, they are guaranteed to be able to do some keep damage. Full level still until Superstars can catch up to 13. So let's see where the Immortals spawn and if it's in a defendable position for Superstars so they can slow things down until their Abathur, their split-soaking heroes can catch them up.
2 more seconds. And it's going to be a offensive posturing for both of the Immortals.
It's not the worst, though, because they have the damage.
Yeah, because they can win the race, again, because the Q build in Hunter's Mark, it's near 50-50 for those two, but the talents are not quite the same tail. Where do we get the second spawn? Defensive posturing. Advantageous for the members of Superstars. Hosi pops the Shadow Stalk.
That was a nice Immortal round for Superstars because they could get halfway damage done, and then now they can slow down until they could maybe get to 13. But with all the members here and everyone afraid to back off, it's just Abathur who's trying to make sure that he can keep the soak going.
You see Hosi constantly kind of waiting away onto the sides there. If he catches off Glorong, or if they open up like that onto Buds, gains no kill. He holds his own for now. But I feel like they can catch Glorong off. You know Glorong is going to be looking for the kills onto the side, waiting to try and get him. And Hosi's one of the prime kill targets. If they can bait him while being stealth, it might be enough to set Superstars ahead into these fights. But Glorong getting the soak off on top. He has displayed himself there in top.
I was amazed by that synergy of Superstars to burn Buds down that far. But the collapse is coming in from Glorong and Goku, still free 13. They've done enough to the lanes. They want to start getting aggressive while they still have an advantage over their opponents, over Superstars.
That advantage is going away very, very soon, but Glorong is going to commit. He gets stunned by the Immortal, forcing a teleport, but the members of Roll20 are there to back him up. Everyone makes it out. And with the 2 levels, Roll20 has 50% shielding on this Immortal that's going to the top lane. And this is where
they're heading to bot.
Yeah, so they're going for exactly what they should be doing with their comp. They go for a split. Whenever you have shielding above 50%, most of the time it is advantageous to split pressure and go for a double keep. And when they respond to top, you push bottom keep. And when they go to bottom, you just let top Immortal get free damage out. And most of the time, if you play it perfect, and with the advantage Roll20 has, they might get a double keep play.
Yeah, it's really nice that they're able to do this too, because it's not a good spot. Because they're still on even talent tiers, they know that it's possible Superstars could try to take the fight beyond the Immortal. And so they just allow the Immortal to do their thing on the keep. They get the keep in the bottom lane. Now they can figure out what to do about that top keep. They could eventually just send Glorong to sneak up and try to do damage with Goku too, but they have 16, so they may just try to get into the fight and win the game off of this.
I'm pretty surprised that Roll20 is willing to walk away as passive as this. Trying to feign some weakness makes sense, but as far as they were willing to do so, now they look to turn it around.
They force Sound Barrier. Dragon Blade's still being used. Be done pretty soon. There's the Divine Shield. So with those down,
they have still Void. If they want this fight, they can take it. It's not like Roll20 is questioning how do we get this. They have a Void Prison. Glaurung goes back in, trades into Superstars. I get the argument once Clone came out that they didn't want to fight into the double Vala, but very interesting considering Roll20 was like, we have our advantage, let's force, let's get the keep. And then once they got it, they were like, okay, now we're afraid of you? Typically, you pull away a little bit to make your opponent think they have an advantage, right? And then you turn, you wipe them, you end the game immediately because they took a fight next to their base. But the fact that Roll20 wasn't willing to convert that back, and the miscommunication we saw between the Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield.
I think that was the problem. They had Dragon Blade, they used Dragon Blade fairly early on. Goku wanted to go back in, and then after that, they don't have Dragon Blade 4 to follow up with the Void Prison. But now, Daihu has been found. Goku gets the 1 kill. Prismaticism hoping for another reset. He does get one. So with Tyrande and Muradin gone, we've got an Abathur, Lucio, and Vala left, 16 to 14. And there is a keep open for Roll20 to take. Respawn timer still fairly low, so for now they're just going to go for the keep.
The keep is the safest play. It'll get the pressure up on top. Somebody still has to respond to the double camp, and now the Immortal has found itself onto the map. Roll20 back right on out. You see Buds and Glaurung and Justing. They're trying to bait it here. Nobody's showing yet. Buds has revealed himself, but only Buds.
What helps at 16 for Superstars? Can they get to 16?
I don't.
There's so much damage for the Immortal. I don't think they're going to get the chance for that.
I don't think so either. So then you have to wait until the halftime show kicks off and then try and force right here. Take the damage on your core. Say this is your best fight. It is your only fight. But it's yours, you know, and you gotta be proud of what's yours. You gotta take it. You gotta be, you know, flaunt it off, show it off here.
They're doing just that. Mostly trying to reveal the situation of Roll20. Roll20 are at their Immortal. They want a fully shielded one. Not allowing Superstars to get any damage done. It's fairly risky because they are split across the center of this battleground, but what it does allow is make sure that there is no way that they don't win the game off of this Immortal.
If the Stormbolt lands, Hosey's there. The flex been used. Goku dodges. 10,000 damage remains on that Immortal. 3 times the HP for that of Roll20's. And there's catapults building through bottom. Again, there is no mule to stop damage onto the core. And Zeratul is there, and he's going to hunt down Abathur. Oh gosh, Gilly, this is worst case scenario. There's going to be a Zeratul on core, and Abathur has to run away. How does Superstar stop this?
There he goes. Glaurung is on the core as Goku goes into Dragon Blade, keeping all the members of Superstars from being able to stop Glaurung from taking out the core. Yoda looks to be the target for the resets, and Prismaticism will guarantee it. There is another one taking out Lucio with 2 already dead. Daihu falling incredibly low. Hosty has to go into Shadow Stalk just to hope that he could stay alive from this. But even still, the core of Superstars continuing to go down even without an Immortal.
Shout out to Hosty, though, for dodging 3 shurikens somehow. I've never seen that happen before. Glaurung, mission accomplished on the core. 30% on his own. Pretty impressive. Didn't cost him the Void Prison. Roll20 will, in fact, take game number 2. Even though they're trolling us, they will take game number 2.
Not with a slice, but with a laser.
And now Superstars 1 game away from getting, you know, stopping the minigame. That is Roll20 and their win streak.
And it's more than that too. It's for Superstars, every game matters for every single series. They really don't want to go to the Crucible. And they are tied in wins and series wins with LagForce. LagForce couldn't get any wins off of Roll20. That gives a distinct advantage if Superstars can. It's like every single series that LagForce goes into and is able to take, then Superstars has to echo that. And they're already worried about, even in death, being able to beat LagForce. If they can't beat them, then that gives LagForce another win. So at the very least, they have to be able to get games somehow. And they told us they were coming in with some strategies. We haven't seen them yet. Maybe now with 2 games down, we'll start seeing the wild things come out.
I think it's going to probably get really weird. If we see some adjustments for Superstars, we know that they've been the team that, you know, is willing to bust out the Cho'Gall. And so if they're comfortable saying that, they're already down 2 games and Roll20 just looks as dominant as they are, it could be really next level in terms of the cheese and meta here. But it is weird because Roll20 is dominating, and they're pretty much playing with their food throughout the series, and it's one of those awkward moments, and you're at the same time, you are right. Like, Superstars, these games do matter. They do matter for Superstars, and it's just kind of like, well, you know, I don't know what to say. You put yourself in this situation. I'm sorry, like that. These games are the way that they are, but Roll20 is on a tear right now. They are looking unstoppable. They're maybe the best team in North America, and they don't care about what you feel. They're ready to just go ahead and win the game however they want, whether that means voiding the core at 15%. It means voiding the core at 15%.
Yeah.
You have to find a way. And honestly, they haven't brought enough to the table for me to go, I feel that bad. Like, if anything, it's more of like, it wasn't like, oh, you can see the thought process and the changes. It's just been like, they're here to play today. They in fact are at their keyboards and mouse, controlling the characters on the screen, but it doesn't feel like they came in like, we're changing everything to make sure that we do not go into the Crucible.
Yeah, that is true. We'll see if Superstars are able to do anything to get those game wins after this break. Stick with us.
One of the amazing things about all Blizzard games is the credits always start with game designed by Blizzard Entertainment.
It takes a Blizzard to make a Blizzard game. And I think that's true on, any individual game. It's true on World of Warcraft, it's true on Overwatch, it's true on Heroes, and it's certainly true on Kel'Thuzad.
Hundreds of people have worked on some form of Kel'Thuzad over the 20 years this character's been in existence.
The hero that since joining the team I've wanted to do the most, so I'm super excited to finally be bringing Kel'Thuzad into the game.
The players have been asking for this hero forever.
We knew ahead of time this was a hugely requested character by the fans.
Where's KT? Where's Kel'Thuzad? Give me KT.
This is a moment where we can do something really cool.
The last time we had a chance to work on him was in Warcraft 3, and everybody's very, very excited to bring him back in a big way and into the Nexus.
I can't wait to see what the Heroes team reimagines Kel'Thuzad as for Heroes of the Storm.
Feels good. This feels really good. Yep.
Archlich of Naxxramas.
Esteemed Lich Lord of the Plague Lands.
Commander of the Dread Necropolis.
Master and founder of the Cult of the Damned.
Formerly of the Council of Six. Creator of the Abomination.
Summoner of Archimonde the Defiler.
Betrayer of humanity.
Hearthstone enthusiast.
Major Domo to the Lich King.
Kel'Thuzad is an iconic Warcraft villain, and it's incredibly important that we do justice to that character, and we can't screw this up.
I'll have to trust you on that one.
Hold your positions.
Resist the chill of death!
Yes. Well done, minions. Now, bow before Kel'Thuzad!
Introducing HGC Cheer. To bring more hype to HGC this year, you can cheer with bits to show support for your favorite teams while unlocking in-game loot and exclusive Twitch emotes. Cheering is a way to show support for streamers, celebrate the amazing, and amplify your voice in chat. Bits are a virtual good you can buy on Twitch to cheer. When you cheer for your favorite teams during HGC, a share of the revenue from the bits cheered goes to the team. As you cheer, items like loot chests, mounts, and exclusive emotes will unlock when cheering goals are reached. Check the HGC Cheer event page to track progress and see the loot you can unlock. The leaderboards will show who's the biggest fan of your favorite team. To get started, buy some bits by clicking on the Nexus icon at the bottom of chat and select Get Bits. Then, when a team impresses you with skills like these, click on the Nexus icon in chat, select the team logo, add the number of bits you want to use, and a message to cheer them on. You'll summon a team-themed animated cheer mode to celebrate the moment and amplify your voice in chat. The more bits you use, the cooler and more animated the cheer mode. Be sure to link your Blizzard and Twitch accounts to claim your loot when it becomes available. We'll see you in the Nexus.
Welcome back to HGC, where currently Roll20 are sitting nicely at 2-0 in a best-of-5 over Superstars, hoping for a clean 3-0 win. I think Superstars needs a power snack. You want a power snack?
Yeah, I do want a power snack.
Here you go.
So cleverly done. Could that in fact be a delicious small thing that I could get in a convenience store through
with
the aisle?
With an onion taste?
With an onion
In
flavor?
fact, it is.
That tears through my history over and over again, and you lightly just keep bringing up? Yeah.
That was it.
In between the breaks, they walk up and they just come up to us with an entire bag of Funyuns and just go, "Would you like some?" And think it's dank. And then she plays on it. It's just, how am I supposed to work in these conditions? Like, nobody sees what happens off camera.
Hostile working conditions.
Nobody wants.
How dare you waft nicely smelling onion treats at me? I don't know how he's going to get through this next game, but somehow he will. It's going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen, so I know your professionalism will get you through this potential final game of the weekend, Dread. I believe in you.
I mean, I don't think you're the only one. As everybody at home knows, too, the number one thing, you think of Dreadnought, first word that comes to mind, probably professionalism, And so I think that, yes, we, in fact, will be able to rely on that to carry us through this game.
And, in fact, if you can't somehow, I've got some more treats for you underneath the desk.
You're so funny. Oh my gosh, Gilly, we're such good friends. I can't believe that we get to work together. I'm so happy that I'm forced to have a conversation with you for 8 hours when we get to do this.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Wait, was that a hint of sarcasm I detected?
No, it was a hint of Funyun.
Fair. Thought I smelled something.
Superstars busting out the Chromie band.
Wow.
Not willing to give up that first pick. What about Medivh?
Is it Medivh? Is it Medivh?
Ooh. There's a lesser argument for the Medivh ban here of Roll20, but if they ban it, it only greater increases the argument that I had kind of before, because this Medivh on this map is equally as impactful, but in a different manner. It relies a lot more on the rest of your team being good with the Medivh, more than the Medivh being the high-impact, outstanding dude.
Yeah, because this is the #1 Medivh map for Roll20.
It really is.
But Tassadar is also a problem. Offers a lot of wave clear. He is here to stay.
It's just gross, dude. I get actually, like, we use that term, like, nerd chills in a complimentary manner, but when you get goosebumps in, like, a not good manner? That is me every time I see that Medivh banned by Roll20. Just,
like
gross.
A cold chill seeps through your body.
Get Medivh out of here. Everybody's going to quickly learn that Medivh is secretly my next more hated hero than Tyrande. Even though I like him, unlike the Tyrande, now everybody's quickly going to learn that I've been terrified of this day when he comes in and takes over the meta. He's not there yet, but he's close. He's definitely showing signs of life.
He is.
And that it means a lot.
Whether it's Glaurung is the reason, maybe Rich played a hand in that too. ADRD, these Medivh prophets brought him in, and he seems like he's here to stay, and it's a lot in North America. But it leaves open Tassadar. There's a lot of different combos that Tassadar can bring, but the big deal is that he has vision for the turn-in points, he has wave clear for Superstars, and finally we get a Garrosh for Roll20 paired with Malthael, so there's no way for Malthael to counter him.
I was just going to say, the one thing I want to know now for Roll20 is they've been willing to Garrosh Chromie as the 1-2, as the second pick every time they've played Tomb of the Spider Queen. If the Chromie's gone, does Garrosh still hold that strength? Because we've seen their Garrosh value has died on certain maps. So it's like, is that synergy the reasoning? No, that they just feel like Garrosh is that big of a deal. And removing the soft counter of Malthael, it's really nice. Maybe inconvenient displaying your solo lane that high up, but you can also adjust your laning situation if necessary.
I love that pick too because Superstars was maybe the first team that I thought would want to bring in Malthael anyway, and then so they would prioritize him even higher against Roll20 because of how much Garrosh Roll20 had been playing. Yoda was the first person to pick up Malthael and play him just about every single game, and even though it's not for sure who is playing that solo role, that Yoda has been playing more ranged, just walked off the stage.
I didn't walk off the stage.
He's like had to step back. Even though it is with Yoda playing more ranged in this case, making sure that he can take away and have Goku play that Malthael as a counter. We've got Rhaegar and Leoric.
So let's just view a world where Superstars gets a crazy draft this game. The high Leo could probably...
You're talking about Cho'Gall.
No.
What?
The Immortals composition.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually a really good situation to where the Immortals composition could come together. It would work. Their draft indicates it right now. It hasn't shown anything too heavy so far. The Rhaegar maybe, but it meets the role that you need necessary to be able to make this happen. So I'm just going to say it because the stars have aligned for this to be the weird draft. And the map and everything and the like has done so. I want a Murky. I want the Immortal composition. I want it to get all about the wave clear, all about the pressure outward. So much so that I actually really would have wished Superstars went almost maybe even a supportless draft. If you either go Immortal style or you go supportless, Tassadar Leo, sacrifice your body, wave clear dominance, that DreamHack Valencia, Fanatics rise on the map like Tomb where they were able to bust that out.
Well, if they're going to do that, they do it without Gul'dan because Roll20's banned that. Superstars. Do they ban Uther? Uther would be my thought. Oh, they're looking at Greymane though.
I think that Gul'dan shows that they're afraid of a Horrify or they're afraid of dominant wave clear. If there's too much wave clear on the other side of the table, be afraid of wave clear. So what are you really afraid of, Roll20? Why ban the Gul'dan? Is it an Ariel? That they didn't want to deal with that, and they wanted the Ariel outward even after the rework, and they didn't want to deal with the Horrify split of them clumping and dominating through the map. This is it's a very surprising Gul'dan ban.
It is.
Considering all the wave clear already existing for Superstars. Uther. So no Ariel theory.
No, I felt like the Uther was a given because there was already Garrosh and Malthael. I mean, the only other thing would be Stukov.
Tychus?
Yeah, I am...
I mean, what Roll20 has is old school, but it's strong. It just, again, it's, them getting adjustments. And at this point, I feel like Roll20 can do a little bit of anything, and they're going to be able to justify it here. They also, you have the Uther Odin synergy, which is nothing to laugh at. Malthael to prep people for Odin. Those are really time-sensitive heroics, though, and something Superstars might be able to abuse. So this is where we get our Murky, right?
Am I crazy that Tychus is because they're still a little bit scared of Cho'Gall? Greymane was banned for Cursed Bullet. Leoric was high-picked, who has % damage.
I mean,
yeah, there's no Ariel.
The minute my opponent picked Malthael, I would never do it. And with that, when I picked Tass and I've got a Malthael,
Yeah.
like, I think you are right. But whether or not accurate in terms of presentation of the power level of it all, it could very much have been that case. But if I pick Tass and my opponent picks Malthael, my entire dreams of going a Cho'Gall probably drop pretty heavily.
Yeah, Tass Cho'Gall is not ideal.
Especially if I picked Rhaegar. Like, only if that was an Ariel would I be like, you know what, I think you might be a little bit more onto it. Like, but I do think that had to have been some of the thought process going into it. And then a Falstad as the last pick here for Roll20.
Well, Rhaegar used to be played as the supportive choice with Cho'Gall before it was Ariel, before Ariel was out.
But it's like, Rhaegar versus Ariel is very lopsided.
I know,
like,
but Ariel would have probably given it away. I don't know. I don't know if they would play it. But that Tychus just seems so weird, and the Greymane ban. Greymane, maybe not, because it's Roll20. But I don't know.
It could have been the idea behind it. I mean, Tychus on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen is pretty effective. It also is going to be pretty oppressive when it comes to the laning situations, depending on how they want to play it out. I actually really like the idea of an Odin wailing away during a Tournament of Souls. Like, I don't know how you lose a team fight where both those heroics are used at the same level, much like Genji's Dragon Blade with it. Odin is just a massive long-range nuke that can constantly keep up the pressure. So I never thought about the synergy before, but now that we see it, I'm like, why aren't we seeing a little bit more? I like it a lot more now. But I do agree with you. It's just we haven't seen Tychus at all in NA. He hasn't been there. So for this to be here, the high Leo before the secondary ban, like there were a lot of wonky things that really went into it. And we came up with either I wanted the murky composition, you go ahead and get yourself a Cho'Gall. Either way,
I get my Cho'Gall.
We're both disappointed.
Yeah.
Because now we got standard compositions. At least the Tyrael here for Superstars.
Yeah, we've got Tyrael, Lunar. We'll talk more about it. Let's get into Game 3, though. Tomb of the Spider Queen with Roll20 having a 2-0 so far in the series. TaS Lunara. You've got Lunara with the slows, Leoric with the slows. Unfair advantage, getting a lot from that. All right, for reals, though, I got to get rid of the rest of these Funyuns because they smell weird.
I'm just trying to think about, is there anything talent-wise that we are looking at that maybe we're missing out? Because we talked about the draft, and some things do seem a little bit weird. Not that crazy, but slightly abnormal. So is there talents that we're missing out on? Some adjustments, is it a judgment composition that all ends? I'm still not seeing anything. I mean, I almost threw out the words March of the Black King, but I don't know if you can say something any more offensive to Leoric players.
You know what, now that I'm looking at Tychus for the 15th time, maybe it was just a deny, because they're Garrosh.
So Roll20 went to a situation to where they almost looked unstoppable with the Garrosh to the point where they have to ban and pick their first picks all around it.
Well, they came in with a surprise factor of how strong Garrosh was. Nobody knew how strong Garrosh was going to be.
So
now people know, and they have had time to figure out. It's basically the Gale Force and Braxis equivalent of them making sure that they're constantly figuring out how to stay ahead of the game with their Garrosh.
I like it. I like the argument. Urho, sad that his Q was not available there after the flip. That's first blood over to Roll20. And the laning situation of Superstars going with an uncommon 2-1-2, leaving Tassadar to be the solo.
And for Roll20, they've got Falstad in the top. Uther and Garrosh can rotate around trying to get picks. And then Tychus mid and Malthael in the bottom.
Kiro's looking to go down and match up into the 1v1 on bottom. Daihu using the Wraith Walk after getting flipped. We've seen a couple of Leorics into Garrosh's Gilly, and a lot of level 7s taken. A lot of builds, honestly, from Leorics. So pretty much about any option has been taken at some point. Have you concluded on what you would like to see, mainly when talking about Lingering Apparition, Hardened Bones, or into the Royal Focus, all that style of play?
I think we're going to see a Hardened Bones at level 4. I can't decide what I would like to see more. Royal Focus, because there's on a Pale Horse for Malthael, and so trying to make sure that they're both keeping up with rotations back and forth. But because it's a small map, and if he is going to continually over and over again be the focus and make sure that he is the one who is tanking those Wrecking Balls of Garrosh, then Hardened Bones makes a lot of sense.
Icona did. Just scared away Goku. He's the true support battler here down on bottom. It's a full party, man. Everybody's bringing in the friends. Justin lost his cooldown there after the dimensional shift. Camp goes over to Superstars. It's the small victories here that matter for Superstars at this point. And that was a pretty big win there, led by Icona on that Rhaegar.
All right, we see in the rhythm. And I wanted to talk to you about this, and I forgot about it.
Let's
and
go.
I just remembered. My thought was, versus a Garrosh, and obviously this time Tychus is with the Garrosh, but versus it, what about a fully loaded, just cooldown reduction? Because you don't want the bigger they are, for obvious reasons, because the time when you need minigun to be effective is the time when he has a crap ton of armor, which is when he's almost dead, and then it's not going to be used because the bigger they are. Maybe in the rhythm then would be another one potentially, but I was thinking about fully loaded, just cooldown reduction.
I like the idea actually a lot, because yeah, we've talked a lot about behind the screens, you know, off screens, about what is Garrosh, the math behind his health and everything, and the bigger they are, doesn't seem to really make a lot of sense. If anything, it feels like it kind of is healing him to a certain extent. So to go for the CDR and just, it's one of those, like, it doesn't answer the Garrosh directly towards the strengths, but all the tools that seem to answer towards the strengths are half of the reason Garrosh is so strong. So I feel like that's a cooler or better way maybe even to approach that problem. Is just be like, well, you'll just be more effective more often, but maybe not when you think we need it or opening. It's just try and get as much damage out as possible, and hopefully it gets a kill.
Yeah.
I like it.
I haven't had time to try it yet.
I haven't either, but now that you've said it, I feel like it's got a pretty good angle. At least got the thought process behind it.
I like thinking about Garrosh counters. I'm assuming that Roll20 has done the same, given that they play it so much. Looking at the gyms, Superstars have done a pretty good job of being able to push back Roll20 in the lanes, and that has afforded them the first Webweaver phase.
Did Daihu used to play a lot of Leoric back in the day? Because that was a pretty clever Leoric transition there. It wasn't a big play, but it was everything done about max range, perfectly calculated. He's looking really controlled there on that Leo.
Potentially, but the only one I knew him to just be an absolute monster was his ETC, but he's been a warrior player for like as long as Fury maybe? He's been around for a long time playing warrior.
He very much has. Every time I think of Daihu, I think of his old teammate too, Lex Uther.
Oh yeah.
Just because of his
name. He
name.
never played Uther when I casted him.
You know, every time I played against him, it seems like he was on the hero. It's not a good time. Full level lead here for Superstars.
Yeah, Roll20 just doing what they can to try to defend the Webweavers, but we talked about the wave clear for Superstars. Strong with their Tassadar, Rhaegar with Lightning Bomb, they have Leoric too, and they're making things happen with this Webweaver phase, exactly what we'd like to see from them.
Gilly, I am the world's biggest Superstars fan. Hold on a minute. I can't believe Bud survived that. Justin not even getting the flip on the proper target and still able to keep it up. So that wasn't fact. That was more of, I was trying to give you an example and an opportunity to tell me why I shouldn't be as excited as I might be excited in this game. Because I just watched my favorite team lose the last 2 games, and now they're a full level lead before pre-10. Like, should I be hyped? Should I not be hyped?
They have 33 out of the 55 gems necessary to turn in. They have heroic abilities extremely soon. They're using their Murking Hero to get the Giants in the bottom. They got a lot of front walls, but they are missing quite a few gems to get this next turn in.
So
if they can get this next Webweaver phase, things look really good for them. If they can get all of the forts with them, this might be their game.
It might be their game. I think I completely agree with you. It's all about Webweaver phase number 2. If it goes over to Superstars, it's got to be feeling nice. But Goku dumps off 31. I guess not all of them, as he's got a couple of his own. Roll20 is going to be able to get the 10s before the Webweavers descend, or at least close enough to the timing of it to where it will not be a problem. Daihu on the opposite side. He's got the Wraith Walk, even turns around and tombs. No 10 still here for Roll20 as they getting cocky, getting confident, and they eat their aggression. Immediately turned from Superstars. Love what we just saw there from Daihu. Brilliant play.
Yeah, great punishment. Daihu catches. Immediately the team follows up with that with the Sanctification and Archon, and that enables Superstars to get a lot easier of a clear from these Webweavers. And Roll20, for maybe the second time, but definitely in another game, still getting just a little too overconfident against Superstars.
Getting a bit too confident, and about at the worst case window, because I just had asked you, you know, paint a picture here, let me know what I should be looking for Superstars. And if Furho can make it out, the biggest thing was about the secondary Webweaver phase. But if the secondary Webweaver phase doesn't matter for Roll20, that's about as good as the next one going over to Superstars. We were concerned more on who would gain over the next few seconds. We weren't concerned on the gem count itself. So this being dumped, and more importantly, again, not getting a fort, only a couple of front walls, and experience being in favor of Superstars.
Still.
It is 10 out of 10 for Superstars, but they can't let up here. There's still 68 gems in the hands of Roll20. They could try and snake that turn in.
Superstars has the gyms available for a turn-in from that too, and with the level lead, and more importantly, with the type of heroes who are all